Oh.
Commissioner Stanton.
Here.
Commissioner Shebrel.
Here.
Chair Belomo.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, and then can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda minutes from last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve last month's minutes, January's minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nobody. Perfect. And then we have citizen comments and concerns. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tracy Udy, 165 Hillway in Campanella. I just wanted to touch base with you guys on the restroom situation. I know I talked about it a little bit last time. A couple nights ago, it was about 3 a.m. I had a truck parked out there with two shady characters that went into the bathroom, came back out of the bathroom, went back in. It was kind of a process for a while. We talked about a lock on the bathroom. There is not a lock on the bathroom. The auto lock. So I had contacted Don, I believe his name is City Works or
Yeah,
Don. Yeah. Oh, hi. And had chatted about that. So I just wanted to make sure that we did know that that is something we need to have addressed.
perfect.
So
Yeah.
that was it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I was under the impression we didn't have a lock. So I've been Public Works Director for 3 years. Before that, I was a ditch guy. And so I've never been familiar with those bathrooms. We've always had them lock them manually. And so I talked to our Parks and Rec department after I talked to you. And there is a locking mechanism and it's broke. And I just got the part in today. And so it should be installed tomorrow. So then they should start locking again. So
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah, so it's gonna be on a timer. I don't know what the timer is set to. And I can address it. I can send it to the Parks and Rec next month to where we know. I think we usually try to go from dusk till dawn, right? So it's like 6. No, so it's a magnet. So it will, at a certain time, the magnet activates and it'll lock the door. If somebody's in there, they can press and then it'll automatically open, like, so we don't trap them. That can happen. And that's just, yeah, we had that problem at Wade Creek to where they actually permanently broke it. So I mean, there are ways around it, but it should be fixed. Yeah, it's a start. So. Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Don. Anyone else? Shirley? Okay. Anyone online? Perfect. All right, on to commission business. We can start with the splash pad alternative locations discussion. I don't know. Can you bring it up on the?
Oh, no, I'm bringing up something else later.
Oh, all
It's
good
open.
then. So in the packet, we have. I'll read them off and then.
And I'll see if I can get it open and then share.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to speak to it, then I'll work.
Sure. So the city provided us with 7 different options that we could look at for the splash pad recommendations, both with and without their recommendation by staff saying this could be an option. This could work as an option. So the first option was in Casadero Heights, the park that's in the neighborhood up there. That came with objections because you would have to do, because it's landlocked, it might cost more for the contractors and do things like that. It might dissuade people from us from building there, the city from building there. There's Gardner Park, which is the one up in
Cascadia Ridge.
Cascadia Ridge. Downside to that park is it's a little small. It's a dead end street and there's only 3 parking spots for it. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Overlook Park, fully developed. Which one?
So Overlook it's the cul-de-sac and it's like pretty newly, we built it 3 years ago. It's in Reagan Hill and it's
Oh,
fully,
there's no
there's no space at all. There's none,
no.
Okay,
which is probably why it says
No.
no.
yeah.
There's physically no space there
No parking.
and no parking at all, none.
Wade Creek is a potential option that we could do if that, I think that's our only option if that's what we want to do this year. It's the only timely option was the one in Wade Creek. Option 5 was possible future parks in the new subdivision that's getting built above, that's one on like Lawrence, right? In that subdivision, which would just take time. The new portal park where the decommissioned water treatment plant is going to be is also a good location, but again, they're looking at 2028 for that, which is 5 years from now. And then we have the possible expansion of Wade Creek, and that's more of a 2-year or a 5 to 10 year, also a very long time frame. So if anyone looked over and wanted to give their opinions just based on that, if anyone wants to start.
For Wade Creek, were we talking about replacing horseshoe pits or were we doing something over on the north end?
So I think it's
We have the map right here.
yeah,
Okay.
We're here if you have questions for us, but if you just want to discuss,
fine.
that's fine. But
perfect.
there's some images down below that would show where.
Yeah, they're up there now.
And there was a mention of something behind the Shell station. Is that a thing? Okay.
No.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about like how the city feels about it and because again, you know, if we're really trying to do it before summer, then I think really our option would be yes or no on Wade Creek.
That's true. So I think it's something that the community's been wanting for a really long time. So we are ready to push ahead with it. And Don could answer any questions if you have logistical, but there's kind of a couple options in Wade Creek. I think the top option behind the restrooms, that would take out, there's a lot, it's kind of humped up. So it'd be a lot more excavation there. And as I've been driving past and looking over, like imagining a splash pad there in the front area, that'd be kind of cool. But do you want to give up the green space there? There's a lot of green space in Campanella. There's green space up at Gardner Park. There'll be new green spaces out in the other subdivisions. So where people kind of can live there's green space. That's just, I guess, up to your recommendation. But if you have any questions logistically, Don can answer this.
Yeah, and we do have lots of green over by the phase 3 expansion on Wade Creek as well. So
Right.
it's
I
not
like
like
that
it's not like
idea.
their park is void of grass if we put this in on one of these. That spot next to the like the beach volleyball, I think makes the most sense to me. It's flatter. There's also it kind of concentrates all the play stuff right there, and it's like it makes it a really cool park.
Yeah, it would make it like a much more utilitarian park where it's like we have a lot of things really packed together, but it has a big parking lot. They have all that overflow parking lot with the library where people could park and walk over too. What would like the cost be to actually get it installed into that park?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm talking to a contractor right now, because first we have to tap the water main,
Mhm.
and that's gonna probably be one of the more spendier things. Anywhere it goes, the water main has to be tapped. And that's any of those. So we can't put that out of the way. And then we have to hook it into sewer, which is gonna be in the center of the parking lot. Instead, there's a sewer main in the street, but we'll probably tie into the bathroom sewer. And then we're gonna have to route the power there, which is already there because of a pole. And then we're going to have to put there's a 4-inch solenoid. So every one of those features with a button has its own solenoid, and that has to be encased inside of a building. And so originally we had it in the back by the horseshoe pits, but I had a lot of contractors kind of not want to do it because they would be destroying the park to build the park, and then they'd have to rebuild the park on their way out. So and we were going to use the tough shed that was there and put all the solenoids in there. And so I think having it out front, I'm pretty sure we can get there with the remaining budget we have this year. It's just trying to integrate the curvature of the park. You see all the concrete, it's nice, it's kind of blurry there, but it's nice curved.
Yep.
And I'd like to keep the curve and then keep a little separation from the volleyball to the sand pit, which would be installing a
Yes.
fence around there to keep the kids with the sand. I want to keep the kids in, but I want to keep the sand out.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna
Yes.
be a splash pad killer, I think. So yeah, I think with the remaining budget we have this year, I think we could probably make it happen. Or we can make a really big dent in it this year.
I think definitely, like you were saying about the sand, if it were to go there, that would be my big, like, as a mom, I'm thinking about the kids getting wet and then running over there and rolling in the sand.
Yeah. And
And it's really, and then they're coming back and getting it all over the,
yeah,
yeah.
and so I think it's
Some
good
sort of
too, is
divider.
we can utilize the sidewalk as part of it has to have a protective barrier around it. And we'll use two sides of that sidewalk for that protective barrier. So it'll eliminate some concrete in the long run.
Do you think it makes more sense to put it, if we put it on the other spot next to like where the wood chips are, that on the second spot, would it, maybe not construction wise, it would take a little bit more grading and stuff like that, but it would keep like it would keep the sand away from the splash pad, and maybe it would have a little bit of you have a little bit more distance between like the volleyball,
Yeah.
the skate park and the splash pad all together. Like if you put it on the other side, would that make more sense?
It would, it's just a weird shaped patch there. So they'd have to do some really cool stuff with concrete. When they do cool stuff, the price goes up.
And
So
there's
that was kind of our reasoning with it. It's just an odd shape of grass right there.
Sure.
You probably have
Um,
to take the
but-
trees out, yeah,
Yeah.
there's two, aren't there two trees over there?
Yeah.
Three?
Yeah, I think there's 3. And I liked having the splash pad close to the parking lot because I have kids, and being able to carry a wet child to the car quickly
Sure.
is good. So
What about, I mean, just, I think it would be practical or like really desired to have something like a little foot, or even just like a faucet for like a foot bath type of thing.
yeah, that would be, we have a faucet in one of our
Yeah,
other
in the sand
place
feature
sets,
right
the
there,
sand
yeah.
area. And so yeah, that it's just a foot wash thing, but
Yeah,
it's something we can look into. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
What does the maintenance look like for a splash pad?
I don't know.
No.
That's
It should be relatively minimal. I know in Malala, they have elements that are up above the ground and they take those off in the wintertime. And I was thinking this would actually be nice, like when it's off season, if there's little kids with scooters, they wouldn't have to play on the big skate park concrete. If we can make it all smooth. I think there's a couple things that stick up, but if we could remove those, since we're using continuous water, we're not recycling the water. That makes it less maintenance. We do have to move the art, the
Mhm.
Mobius that's there, we'd have to move it.
Sure.
But I think that could be done. And we probably like work with the Arts Commission on whether they just want it over in the other patch of grass or where it would be good. We could work with both of you, so.
Sure.
Yeah, top of that hill would be a nice spot.
Yeah.
That little-
and there's a picnic table there too. It's gonna have to go.
Yeah.
And the security pool that doesn't work.
Out of curiosity, so like for the further down the road options, like the mill site addition, is there like any timeline or like a percentage like that we're actually going to be able to get that property and use it?
We've heard rumblings
Uh-huh.
that it's a potential. But I wouldn't take it to the bank yet.
Yeah.
It's still, there's nothing for certain, but we've heard like possibilities. But again, it's probably, it could be a couple of years out. which is fine. That's one option. It would be kind of cool there, and whatever there, even if we do get to expand the park and we've already installed the splash pad, then we'll just have to let you guys figure out what else you'd like to have in the next phase over. But
Sure.
yeah, it's pretty up in the air. We do know the developments, other than there's developments going on in the north that are just getting started, not just the one that's already building houses, the ones that are building houses. So those we don't have like an actual spot where I could point to, hey, this is going to be a park. We could work with the developer on this. But we could just keep our ears open. But I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you
that-
think? What do you
I think that the mill site, I mean, that whole area, when we have talked about wanting to have like sports fields, that's like, if you look at it and you're just
Yep.
like, that's it. It's big and it's flat and open and
Yep.
it's like halfway there.
You guys want
What-
to talk on it at all?
I have
Yeah.
one more question. What is like the actual footprint? Like how big about is it?
It's 65 by 35
65 by
with
35.
its thing is 25 by 45 is the actual dimension of the splash area. And then 5 foot on each side. Yeah, 5 foot rectangle around. Then that's just a protective barrier for people to walk around.
And for this, the design of the splash pad is the same thing where like, you have to be on, is it like you have to be on it to be able to use it? Or like, is there like a button you have to click to make it start working for in the summer or?
There's a button, so we'll activate it. I imagine we'll have some sort of a time of day. It will be good 7 to. I don't know when, yeah, 10 to 6 or something like that, to where it'll be used. And that could just be us turning on and off the water, so nobody's there in the middle of the night. Having
Sure.
a heyday, so.
So would you actually have to send like one of your workers down to go turn it on every day?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Which is fine. We do daily maintenance on our park, so
Sure.
the first thing we do is we go out and they check every park. And so if it's just them going out and hitting a valve, that's fine.
Out of curiosity, do you have like a schedule like that shows like what parks they do at certain times and all that?
Winter time is different than summer.
Sure.
Winter time, they should be going daily,
Oh, okay.
and summer, so I mean, summer's daily too. I mean, they should be going, hitting every park. That's their job,
Got it.
so.
This is just rant, no, there's a rant off.
Yeah,
topic
that's fine.
question. I was thinking like this year we could do some sort of like ivy cleanup, like on the trees, like in Ranger Woods.
Yep.
Would that be an event like we could like get volunteers to be able to go do, or is that something like the public works guys would want to do, or like hire like a contractor to do, or something like that?
I would imagine it'd have to be a volunteer effort.
Sure.
The public works can come in on their own time and volunteer as well. And, but it would be a volunteer.
Okay.
I'm gonna say a couple things on that. So that's you need to coordinate with the school district because
Oh,
that's
okay.
theirs. And we used to do, like, if you contact Solve, they can provide like garbage pickup bags, things like that. So if we want to make it a bigger event where you could either get volunteers to help who know how to get the ivy off the trees,
Sure.
but we could also make it just a general cleanup. I know the mayor had mentioned that to me, that he'd like to do, we haven't done it for a few years. But he saw that as a great opportunity to do cleanup on the ivy in a certain area. And then other general cleanup around town, and maybe we could have some pizza here, like from 8 to 12, and then at 12 o'clock we have pizza here for volunteers to bring trash bags back, or we take the ivy to the public works yard probably.
Yeah, I mean, for like branches and stuff like that, we have a wood chipper. I can come in and bring equipment to where I can bring a dump truck and I can tow the chipper if we get
Perfect.
branches and stuff like that, and it'll be on my own time.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I would like to do like, maybe not like an Earth Day, because it's a bit rainy and like around April that, but if we had like some sort of like volunteer event, like we could like focus on different portions of the city every year
Yep.
and do some
Yep.
cleanup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Interesting. But back to the splash pad. You got anything, Kalika?
No, I mean, it seems like we don't have a lot of options, so it's like work here or don't for right now, so.
Yes, I think it'd be a nice addition to Weed Creek. Like, I mean, I was already excited to have it there, and I think having a splash pad, like you're just saying, of like getting out of the car and getting right back into the car,
Yeah.
like right there. That's pretty great.
I think like, to be pragmatic about it. I think like truly, if we want to do it this year, that's really our option. Would you be able to get like quotes on like the contractor and just to see the pricing, just to make sure you have the budget and everything for that?
Yeah, so I would start with the water tap, so that's gonna be my hardest thing, because we have to cross the entire street. And we would start with that and see where the budget laid with that. And then I would probably hire and have a bunch of quotes from contractors. And for them to do the remaining work and just go from there. I might do sewer and water at the same time, just because I can lay them both in the relative same trench
Sure.
with some separation.
So is the order operations, give the recommendation, see what city council says, and then do the quotes?
Yeah, I'm working on quotes right now either way. I'm trying to get quotes just so I have it now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you guys are gonna decide that, and I'm not saying the council's gonna decide that. I like to try to do it ahead of time. And if it doesn't pan out, I know a bunch of contractors, so they're willing to give me quotes.
Sure, sure.
I have a question. For the, to connect to the sewer line and stuff, is that work Public Works does, or is that's probably a contractor work also? So and if we did, if it did end up being more than we had expected, we'll have the quotes, we'll know, and then we could budget for, to fall over into the, after July 1 and budget for the next fiscal year and complete, do a phase 1 approach this fiscal year and then be ready to finish it out after we get into the new fiscal year with the new budget. And then so it wouldn't open in May, but it could potentially still open this summer if we could, at least for the end of the summer when it's the hottest.
Sure.
Our goal is to get the water. Our goal is to get the water tapped this year. That's my main priority. If I can get the water tapped, it's gonna go where it's gonna go. And that's, the rest will just fall right into place. But crossing Wade Creek or crossing 6th Street right there, that's a big crossing with road closure. And so I want to try to time it right and get the right contractor.
Sure. Anything else?
I like that one, but only if Cazadero Heights wasn't the hidden park, how it is, the spacing there would be so great, but otherwise that one just doesn't. I don't even think you could get what you need to get in there to do what you need to do, because you just have to go between those houses.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like that,
And it's
that's
really
really right back in
hidden.
people's backyard. It's
Yeah,
like literally.
Yeah,
It would take up a lot.
yeah.
Like majority of the green space would probably remove up most of
Oh,
the
it's-
one from.
Probably have
that
to take
area.
out the
Yeah.
basketball court area because it already has some concrete in there, so that would probably be part of
That's
it.
true.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would be, it would feel less accessible to everybody
Yeah.
because it's a little more hidden, but
You can't find it even when you're looking for
I
it.
know.
Yeah. Like I said, my initial idea was like potentially move, like, because it's about the same size as the volleyball, but if people use the volleyball.
They use it
court,
a lot. in the
Then
summer,
I think
spring.
we should leave it if people actually use it, then I have no problem just keeping it there.
I think there's even like I mean, it's not through us, but there's like people that do it.
There, yes,
there.
I can't remember who I was just talking to, but they pay money in the wintertime when they have to be in a gym or facility because there's an adult league volleyball. And then I said, so do you use the park court when the weather's nice? They're like, oh yeah, and then we don't
Yeah.
have to pay. But
Sure.
people come from like other cities to come here to play because it's not easy to find an adult volleyball team to be on apparently.
Yeah, it's highly used. When I saw that in the email, I was like, oh, we can't use that.
Since we're talking about Wade Creek anyway, I know people mentioned like potentially turning the horseshoe pit into like a dog park. All we would do was like just take out the sand, replace it with grass, and then increase the size of the fences. And I know we're doing the fences this year, or we should be doing the fences this year anyway. Is that something like if we had to do like if we were gonna buy fencing and extra fencing this year anyway, how would it be that much more to like maybe increase the size of the fences just and have a nice little walk around spot as like a little dog park?
I don't think it'd be very much. I mean, if we're already, if we tap it onto the other, then it wouldn't be. We just need to remove that fence and then put a new one in. I don't think it'd be that bad. Taking out the horseshoe pit would be simple. And I think people use it as a dog run anyways.
Yeah, if you just put some sod down instead
Yep.
of sand and
Yeah.
just called it a dog park and
Yep.
Let
I
people
think it'd
walk
be
their
easier.
dogs around and stuff.
Yeah, now they
Yeah.
won't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
You could make that part of your recommendation too,
Sure.
because that's a lot of, I think, what people do use it for right now. And so if we could improve it, it would be ideal.
Yeah, make
Yeah.
sure there's like the waste for it and all that stuff's all there for them and all that.
Yeah, and so we don't want to interrupt your discussion. We just wanted to
Yep.
be here to answer questions. So if you want to discuss, decide if you want to go for it this summer and put it in Wade Creek, or if you want to hold off a little bit, we're fine either way. And then whatever your recommendation is, go to council and the council can put their stamp of approval on it or send it back to you and say if they're not confident about it.
Sure.
So any other questions for us? Okay, thank you.
I'll give my opinion.
Sure.
My opinion is that this has been such a huge thing for so long, since before I was here. It was like been going on for a long time before I came here, 6 years ago, I think. I think Wade Creek is great. We talked about it before, and then the only downside was the cost and the water. And now that we think we have it in the budget, I think that that would be great. So that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I would love for it to be this year because it keeps getting put off and put off and put off. Like I said, that one over there was really excited about it about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, I think if we could do it, it would be good to go ahead and just get it done versus putting it out for someday when we maybe have a park space someplace.
Possibly with
Yeah.
water.
No, if we're
Because the
not-
other parks are mostly in developments and we may have the same
Yeah.
issue we've had with Campanella. In which case we are just back to square one until we maybe have the mill property or the portal, which are both kind of open and
Mhm.
for
It-
development.
The can kicking ends here.
Just before we like make a record, do you want, is there any pop? Yeah, it's fine. If you want to comment on it, Shirley.
Okay. I've been working on this this splash pad since 2010.
Yes.
That's when we petitioned it into Wade Creek. Okay, as far as Wade Creek, the horseshoe pits, would it be cheaper to get an easement off Sixth Avenue to come in the backside of the dog park? I mean, of the horseshoe pits, at one or two easements, maybe even, I talked to the guy that owns it and was willing to talk to you guys, okay? Also, it's fenced. And it's fenced, so we don't have any problem with the kids getting out on the street. One area that you guys want to put over by the bathrooms is unless you fence that area off, you're gonna have to worry about the kids, little kids darting out into that parking lot. We already have that problem with them. And as far as the sewer, okay, we have water lines in that sand pit that I don't know why they can't be connected into that water line. And it's been a long haul with this, but if we can't do that, I think it would be cheaper to get an easement and come in that backside than to start on any property and have to take it completely down to ground and redo the whole ground. And I don't know, that's what we had planned on before it got switched over to Campanella's. And when I just switched over that, I plain blank told them, that's not gonna go. They're not going to do this. But I still think the dog park, should go in there. If not, the dog park should go in there. Also, you guys are talking about laying sod and stuff. Has anybody ever been over to the Gresham Dog Park? They don't put sod down, they put chips down. And the dogs are perfectly fine with the chips. And it's not muddy.
That's a
And
good option,
Yeah. So
And it's easy to clean up the dog. You can see the dog crap. You don't end up walking in it. But we do need the dog park. If we don't use the skate, if we don't use that for the splash pad, it needs to be made into a dog park. Because we have the senior home on one side, we have the trailer park on the other side. They all have dogs. And we have all kinds of dogs from Campanella's too.
Yeah.
So I take, but I really would like to see us do some studies. I asked them to do a study, do an estimate on what it would cost to go get an easement and come in that backside of that part, you know, and there's new owners at the Shell station, so.
Yeah. It is a good point. Maybe there is some safety thing they could put next to for the splash pad to maybe prevent kids from, I don't know what they would put, but I mean, it is, you know, it is slightly personal, parent responsibility to watch your kids.
To me, it would take away from the park already. If you take over there and put something over there in that corner, it's just gonna make that corner so crowded already. To see, but that's my opinion
Yeah.
and stuff, so. I would prefer if the kids' safety is my number one thing with the kids. Or we also have the lot between the library, the post office and the bank. We can maybe talk in see what that would cost, because that would bring business into town.
I think that would, I mean, that would be a lot of, like, to rip out like a parking lot though, and do all. Oh, wait.
There's a lot. Yeah, between the post office and the bank. There's like a grass.
Yeah.
Oh.
He wants lease it to have people build on it and then lease the property to it.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, that's the problem. I think, land's expensive. It just depends on how much it would cost.
I don't think it would be that much more expensive to come in from the backside of six to the backside of that.
Yeah, I mean, we could tell, we have them quote everything and just see what the quotes turn out as, and
Yeah, I'd love to have a dog park. To put it up on the hill, that area. It's not accessible to all the kids.
yeah.
Unless the parents drive them.
Does anyone else want to talk about the splash pad, or you guys all good?
No, I think like the reach sounds like, it is a good idea. I chuckled a little bit just because I did bring that up last time. It was completely kibosh the last meeting, that was absolutely not an option. And so I was trying to see it circle back and it's kind of take back.
Yeah, I think it was because it was initially that the back of the horseshoe pit part. That's the part they said they couldn't do it because it would cost a. Yeah. But. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I like the fact that Wade Creek, I don't like to have the other hidden part.
Mhm.
Yeah. Again, it's not. So I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, I already tell my kids to be quiet. They were in that park.
Yeah, I
Like,
think very strongly for the members of the community as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
let's
Budget time.
move on.
Do we want to make the recommendation today, or do you want to wait till next meeting to do it?
I think we should make it
I
today.
think, yeah,
Okay.
because we're gonna have, I don't know if we're gonna meet next month because of spring break, and then you have
You're gonna have.
we have a turnover.
Mhm.
So if we're gonna talk about something that,
I would
make a
love to
decision,
make
it would
the
be-
recommendation today to put it at Wade Creek Park in that front center spot on the flat area. By the
Do
sand.
we want to do the dog park for the two?
I
yes,
think that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, it already is.
Yes,
Yeah,
people already use
let's
it as
just make
that,
it
so
official.
we'll just put a dog
Take
waste
out the
bin
bars,
and
put
make
in
a
chips.
sign.
Just call
Yeah.
it what it is,
Sure.
and then give people doggy bags,
Okay.
poop bags. I mean,
Okay.
I'll let you make a motion if you want to.
What are the words I say after it? Make a motion to do a recommendation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to make a recommendation to put the splash pad at Wade Creek Park.
I'd like to second that motion.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
All opposed? Nay.
And I would like to make a motion to recommend that we convert the horseshoe pit to an official off-leash dog area.
And I will second your motion.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
All opposed? Perfect. One last thing about Wade Creek, and this could be I was talking to the DEIC people about the paths at Wade Creek and how they're not really ADA accessible. The one thing I'll email Dawn again, but I think we can keep the paths without concreting them. But if we like did like a finer pebble and compacted it, it might be more ADA accessible than actually having to tear it up and redo it and incurring all those costs.
You're talking about the gravel in the new part.
Yeah, behind the library.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they were talking they were saying at the last concerts in the park, they were like the older people were having trouble walking on those paths.
Yeah.
So that might be a cost-effective option for us to look at. That I can email Dawn about and see if they're receptible to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought about when I first went there, I was like, oh, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't have to put the gravel down carrying, but losing here, he said take a roller and compact all that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Okay, so I'll email Dawn and Melanie about that. And
About compacting the gravel.
About compacting the gravel and see what they say. And see how much that would cost. Item 2 would be the budget and yearly goal report for city council in April. Let me pull up.
You want me to share my screen again and put the budget on there?
Sure.
Also, my name is on there a lot, but all of those things are at City Hall, just to let you know. There's a bunch of medals and a bunch of goodie bag stuff.
So I have numbers for the concerts in the park this year, and it's going to be more of an overall number. So I sat down with Rob, and so we moved the concerts from Wednesday at whatever time it was to Sunday from 2 to 4. And they're going to be starting on June 30th. They're going to be the 30th, the 14th of July, the 28th of July, the August 11th, and August 25th. He has all the bands. We have all the bands figured out. So the way it works is he actually goes through and contacts everybody, and he did like the Sandy person. They went through an agency. He does it all himself. So he got all the bands settled, and it's going to be about $8,000 to do all the concerts in the park this year, which is a little bit more than, let's see. It's not too much more than it was the year before. I was trying to see what it was.
Well,
It looks like
that's $8,000 is quite a bit more.
yeah,
Than
it's
what
like
it was.
5-ish before.
5-ish. Yeah. So because 3 of the bands cost $800 to have. One of the bands cost $1,200, which is the increase from that $700. And then the last band is $1,500 to have. So that was an increase over that $1,100. And then the 3, so essentially he got rid of the cheap one. He got rid of the $300 one, and it's going to be $800, $800, $800, $1,200, $1,500. So yeah, it's about $3,000 more this year, but he says these are the bands that like always bring out the most people. So he has like Cashmere Effect, Ray Gordon, CJ Mickens, the Northwest Playboys, and the last one was TBD. I forget. He told me what it was, but I forget.
It's the 30th of Cashmere Effect.
June 30th. Yep. And then all we really have to provide for the band is water, and I want to try to get more vendors in this year. I was going to reach out to Christie's and all that stuff, but $8,000 is pretty much the number we settled on for those. So those can get crossed out, and they can go to $8,000. And then the concerts in the park. That's that. Okay, then the trick or trot.
So trick or trot next year will cost less money because of the way that I've done it.
Okay.
So like the medals, I buy them in bulk so
Mhm.
that we don't have to buy, they're cheaper the more that I buy. So we have leftovers from last year, plus there's leftover because the metal, like we have 3 different metal variations now that there's leftovers from all of, so they can just be recycled through, like next year you should not have to buy any. I do not remember how much stuff is left for the trick or treat goodie bags, but I think there's enough actual bags. It would just be stuff to go in them, which really isn't how it says trick or treat goodie bags, $94. So that's the bags plus the stuff that goes in it minus the candy. So like the bracelets and the glow sticks and all of that. And there's still a good amount of that stuff too.
Okay.
So like next year, you wouldn't have to buy medals. I would think the trick or treat, like right there, if you take, I would say like $250 would be more than sufficient
To cover
to cover everything. Oh, wait, but the water bill flyer, how much is that? That's $300. So never mind. So like 500.
Yeah, so $250 for supplies and
Mhm.
the same 3-ish for.
My only concern would be that I don't know, once that goes away, like getting that back. You know what I mean? Like if we say we don't need that in our budget anymore
Mhm.
and then it goes away.
Yeah,
Because in a couple years, if it
Yeah, 'cause
continues, you're
last
gonna
year,
need to
yeah.
go back, like buy more stuff again.
yeah, I think it's more of like, we'll do it as we need, because I mean, last year, what we asked for 12 grand over the course of the year. We only used about half of it. So, I think the budgets are almost always more than we ever spend, and so we suggest a little bit more than. I think, half the time we get half the money back usually at the end of the year anyway, so.
Yeah, and when we have this discussion next year and it's like, oh yeah, we ran out of metals or we're low, we're gonna
Mhm.
buy them, then,
Yeah,
then we just up the amount in here.
So I think trick or treat could be $500 or
Okay.
550.
yeah, 550. Okay, I'll put this that,
There will be more water bills because there will be more people.
right. So, and then so it's kind of same with the goal planning. So we have the concerts, which is always one of our main goals. We have, so we're nixing the sprint into spring this year.
Yeah, then we'll talk about that at
Okay,
the end.
Art in the park.
Art in the Park, which that's a pretty easy event. It doesn't cost anything.
Doesn't cost anything
Yeah.
unless you do a flyer in the water bill.
Yeah, I could put 300 for a water bill flyer for the Arts in the Park. Do we want to, if we usually do that in May?
Yep.
May,
And I put a note that should probably be on the next,
perfect.
well, it needs to be on the next agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to be sure that or this sprint in the spring is being canceled for this year, like this March, but it might happen next spring.
Yeah, that's the thing that it's not in the agenda, but I'm gonna bring it up at the end.
I just
So-
want you guys to be aware that that would be this.
The
budget
next
that
year's
we're-
budget.
So you'll want to include money for that if it's going to happen.
Right.
Next.
Because the budget
Oh.
goes from July to June, correct?
Yes.
oh, got it.
Okay, and then, so. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out because when is it it sets it till June, so,
Mhm.
right.
So
Yeah.
last year though. Did it even cost any, like they paid for shirts? I don't remember.
So I paid for the shirts and then people bought the shirts for basically what I I ended up just taking the money back that way. And then
Yeah.
I never actually billed the city for it because it was just like, I mean, I think I ended up spending like $12.
Yeah.
Because we did the pre-order shirts
Yeah,
and they signed up for them and all that.
Mhm.
yeah. And then, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit tough to figure out. Maybe maybe let's make a line item for that and then let's pin it for now.
Sure.
Talk about what we might be doing instead.
Yeah.
And then come back and then figure out the cost for it.
Okay, but if you needed time to look at like how much it would actually cost to do like the new course, like do a course and everything, it doesn't need to be finalized today. It can be finalized in March, in our March meeting.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'll just put TBD on the cost for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Arts in the Park, we usually do it, we'll talk about that next month and getting that set up, but I think we should do a water bill flyer for it. And then, so that's, I'll put $300 for that. My own personal goal, like I said, would be some sort of like community cleanup day, would be, something I would like to see, because I know
We
like,
used to do one.
Oh, yeah?
For Earth Day, but then it went away because we actually got park people that cleaned up the parks. Because it used to be cleaning
Well,
up the,
It also quit because it was
COVID.
COVID, like we
Yep.
had trees.
Oh,
we had
that's
things. We
right.
had a whole thing set up and then it was
That
totally
was-
canceled and then we didn't come back to the next year because we had other things going on.
that's true. And we
Yeah.
never found those
It
bags.
wasn't just because
Remember, we
Yeah.
bought all those reusable bags and
we
they
had
were never
bags,
found.
trees and.
what was it?
So we had this whole Earth Day like event that was gonna happen and they were gonna get little like
We had
tree
saplings.
saplings. And we had like a reusable tote bags that said like Estacada, like I think it said I love Estacada Parks, like the
Yeah.
frisbees. But we had like 150, I think, of
I
those.
don't even know, but it
And
was supposed to happen. It's April
yeah, in
2020,
April.
so.
Yeah.
It never
So
happened.
Right, like
There-
right,
so
like
it
right
wasn't
after
like-
lockdown.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we've done other things, the spring and the art in the park and we had to come back to it.
But yeah, it used to happen.
Oh,
But somewhere there's some bags.
okay.
They've been missing since 2020.
Before that, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I'd like to see an event like that. I know like the Clackamas River Basin people, they do a Earth Day every year where you can go help and clean up the river and stuff like that. But yeah, if we could do something like that for the city, I think that would be a cool event to
I think it'd be great. I think, the B City Estacada Committee would probably be happy to collaborate on that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it could be either like we do like an Earth Day thing, or it could be like in fall, where it's like a pre-winter cleanup. Because usually you trim like all the plants back in the fall, so because they don't grow as much during the winter. So it could be like we could kick it to like a fall event too, because we don't really do too much in like September or October.
Yeah.
I guess we do the church
Trick or
trot, but
trot.
maybe it might be good for like the September event.
Mm-hmm.
So we could think about what we want to do for that. That was my own personal, like some sort of like community
Yeah.
cleanup or something day like that. That would be a good thing for a good goal for the year.
Ivy removal is always good. Bring your goods to Ranger Park. Okay.
Yeah.
Ranger Woods.
I go through it every day and I just see the ivy on the trees and just bugs me every time I see them because I
Yeah,
know
it's
it's terrible
really-
for the trees.
It's school district property.
It's school. Do you know? Would that be something I'd have to talk to the school board about getting resolved?
The idea. on the
Mhm.
Ranger, it would have, yeah, they would have. to agree to it.
Oh, okay,
'Cause it's their property.
got it. When did they meet?
Second Wednesday of the month. You probably want to talk to Mike Weir because he's the
Yeah.
operations guy, so.
Of each month? Okay.
He's at the meetings.
Mike Weir?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll put that on the note. Maybe I'll show up to one of the school board meetings and ask them about it.
Second Wednesday of the month at 7.
It's in the, like, if you come in the parking lot by the tennis courts
Mhm.
over there, there's a door that goes into the school back there.
Room 35.
Room 35. Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah, I jog on the track all the time because I live right above it. I just drive, I'll walk right through Ranger Woods and I go jog on the track, so perfect. And then we have our the trick or trot we always have that on our goal list and trying to grow that event. So
Do you want to put like a winter event? So we didn't do the candy cane thing this year, but do you want some sort of, like, maybe it could even be an unidentified at this point, but some sort of like winter.
you had musings about it.
Yeah, because I was talking to I forget his name now, from Sandy about like doing, something where it's like, if we did something kind of like that, where in like Wade Creek or wherever, just kind of like a light, like holiday lights type of thing. Yeah, he had some other ideas as well as like the doing downtown and everything, but but even with like Wade Creek, just like the way that they had a bunch of like light installations, and then they got, they had a whole program for getting businesses to sponsor,
Mhm.
putting up little exhibits and stuff like that, and just make a little walkthrough type thing. And yeah, I mean, that would be great. I was too busy this year with the Portland Winter Light Festival, but yeah, it'd be fun to do something like that here.
Would it, is it feasible to like to actually do it in one that like getting like enough like electricity and everything to the parks to be able to have?
Most of that stuff seemed like it was battery powered even.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's basically just Christmas lights, you know, just shaped into, it's put into some shapes. Yeah, it didn't seem like and they had there was like drawing a lot of the amperage or anything.
Yeah. So the cost of that would be buying the lights and actually running them.
Yeah,
Unless
setting
you
that.
had,
And-
like,
and it-
businesses
like,
do.
right. And then
like,
that was the whole thing. So when you walk through, you would see like, there's like this
Sponsorship.
This
this
display.
sponsored by so-and-so.
Treats.
Yeah,
Just throwing that one out
yeah.
there.
And so it was, and that's basically what they were doing, was just like buying the lights and like paying to have the thing stood up.
Sure.
And then I think they even had it, I could talk to him a little bit more about the details, but it's like, we can make this thing and here's what it costs to like assemble it and put this little installation in, like, and you can even like kind of direct the whole thing where it's like, here's the whole grand vision that we have.
Mhm.
And this piece can only exist if it's paid for, and would you like to be a sponsor of this so that it can go up? And then you kind of combine, I mean, but Sandy also has like a massive budget, as we learned. So they were able to pay for quite a bit.
Were you thinking any particular park to actually, were you thinking Wade Creek or a different park to do it in?
I think Wade Creek's a good one just because of the expansion over there. It's like a kind of a nice thing to walk through.
What do you guys think?
Listen, I think it sounds like a lot of planning,
Yeah,
like a lot of work ahead of time. Like it would need to be started soon to collect, like, to make it work. And I'm not continuing. So to be like, yes, knowing that someone else is gonna have to do it, I kind of feel like I shouldn't be
Mhm.
voicing a whole lot just because I'm not going to be there to put the time into something like that. That's a lot more work than the like upfront for either us or the public works or whoever to set up. Those would be my concerns, as well as then like storage in the future. Like we get these things this year, and do we expect the businesses to hold it, or do we have to figure out what we do with
The
stuff?
display.
right.
There's just a lot of logistics that I would have concern with, like,
Yeah, I mean, we could move to just investigate feasibility.
I mean, I loved, we went to the one in Sandy. I thought it was great. I think
Yeah.
it'd be really cool. I think it would have a really good turnout. I think people would love it. I agree with Kalika on the work ahead. Wade Creek has a great path to walk around, especially if you include the new area. Campanella also has a really nice path to walk around too.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. For being more natural parks, I would also have concern with, are we disturbing any of the wildlife by lighting things up for like the darkest time of year, for whatever's like nesting or living there? But
Yeah, I know that Sandy turned the lights off each night too. So I mean, they ran it basically from sunset to I think like 9, something like that. So
We could think about that. We could just put that, winter event, and just, we can talk about it more and see what's going on with that. I think between all the concerts we do in the summer, like summer's pretty full. I don't think there's too much space to do anything really in July, August, and June. Arts, so that'll be in March. So that's pretty easy. That's pretty easy to set up. And that doesn't take too much time out of our too much time to do it all. The spring to the spring, we're not gonna worry about this year.
Yeah.
So we're good with that. And then, like I said, maybe we'll do the community cleanup in the fall, and then, yeah, we can talk about doing the winter event. We could
Yeah.
probably,
I mean, it could even be something where it's like kind of like what they do with the businesses, where it's like, if you look at Portland Winter Light Festival, that's one where like the festival itself doesn't make any exhibits, but
Mhm.
there's like literally thousands, and So it's more of a thing, like they actually have a stipend and stuff for artists. So I've been having exhibits there for 3 years now. And but if you even did something where it was like, you know, Christmas, like holiday light sculpture contest. And
Yeah.
and you put all the pieces up in the park, something like that. So it's not, we're not doing everything and footing it. It's more of like, you know, you could do it that way, or do more of a, make it more of like a local artist type of exhibit. We could talk to the Arts Commission about it and do some outreach there. And maybe turn it to a thing where it's like the budget goes more into like helping fund pieces that get made by the community that we put on the exhibit there.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking if we did, for right now, if we did the 8K for the concerts, the few $100, like say 500 each for the Arts in the Park and the Trick or Trot mailers and all that stuff. And then what you could put like a miscellaneous 2,000 down for whatever potential winter event or whatever cleanup event we could try to plan this year. That would leave us at the exact same budget. And then
Did you say sprint to spring?
no, oh yeah, I guess we would
Yeah,
need,
we need to figure that out. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it would be that expensive
yeah,
to do it when we get down to it. You kind of have the same cost, but it would be a change of course and be more of like, there's just some things that we'd have to do there's some planning that has to go into like how you stage road closures and stuff like that, or lane closures. You don't have to close a whole road anywhere.
sure. Okay, so I think we're good with those goals, and we can recommend them next month. So for now, it'll be a rough draft for our goals and then our budget, and then if we think of anything else in the next meeting, then we can either add it or maybe decide we don't need something or something like that. So
I have one quick question for you. You met with the Arts Commission in January.
Mhm.
What came of that? I never heard an update or anything. Was there any other collaboration bits that they had brought up several different things I didn't know?
Yeah,
what
we
actually
actually
came of
have a
that?
subcommittee. We haven't engaged it yet, but I think this would probably be like our first thing that we could use.
yeah,
Is
so
it just the art in the park? I kind of just, as far as planning.
so they want to do like when they have more events, if we could get out to the events and like maybe set up a table like for the parks and like be a part of their events as well, and then like participate, and then like if when we have our events, they would come out, set up an arts table, and then like they'll come out to Arts in the Park with the kids, like how they did, and
They
came
do
with the stamp machine and all that. So they would do like that type of stuff, but they would like, I think they want a little bit more like reciprocity. We come and they, then we can go to their events and kind of like, fill out the event, like we could like promote like Quest Cicada, or like we can promote our next event at that event, and then maybe we can do like
Something to go along with.
yeah,
whatever they're doing.
like we could like try to theme like some parks, like if they're doing an art thing and they're having like kids do crafts, if we think of like a good little craft or an easy craft you guys know of or anything like that, that would be good to like help kids out, like as a little event, like a little activity, and we could like promote the parks that way. That would be a good, if you guys have ideas or anything,
Yeah.
if you got an idea for that or anything like that. Yeah, that would be good. That's mainly what it was. So because Stephen went to that one, and then I went to the summit where it was all this. Oh, you know what? Okay, that was my other like kind of goal I was thinking about for the year is maybe getting with the safety committee and like trying to do, because their big thing is, so it was this like the summit, they had like all the different chairs of the committees, and they were talking about like what they're doing. So like arts had they were talking about in the last Saturday of July is the Arts of the Creek, was the one they would like to come have us come out and help with. They're doing a bingo scavenger hunt. They're trying to do something like that for the summer. So they had like a little bingo card, let the kids go out, fill out the bingo card, bring it back, and they get some sort of whatever it is, gift cards, gift bag. They're trying to do events like that. And they're trying to do more events like throughout the year, like they have the pie event and that type of thing. But I was thinking, because transportation and public safety, they're trying to do like community watch type things. And I was thinking like for the parks, like, if we could work with them or like work with the city about like maybe coming up with like, when you're an IT user, like you submit a ticket for like a problem and then you get like a response. you know, I think there are like ways, like she was saying, she called the city and they talked to them and like, but maybe if there was like an official channel where you could like email like the public works and then they would respond like when they complete something. Like maybe it'd be like we have like a safety goal, like to you know, help clean the parks or something like that. That might be good to work with like public safety and that type of thing. But I don't know how much time the city has or how responsive they would be to something like that. But that was another goal I was thinking about, was like setting up some sort of system where people could like, even if we had like, the way I described it was like super users, like in the community where you had like a person go out to a park, like you live right next to Gardner. If you went out to Gardner like once a day or, you know, a couple times a week, check for trash, check for whatever. And I did the same thing with like Wade Creek and like Ranger Woods, and like you looked at different park, you look, you know, and we took a different park and like just made sure like the maintenance was upkeep on it. And we had like little, you know, it doesn't have to be official, but you just like, oh, I noticed this was happening in this park over the course of the last month. You know, we could report, they do small reports on each park going forward, and you keep like a better eye out on the park. So we could do something like that. Might be possible. I think that was a good goal, like to potentially like to highlight that we like care about like safety in the parks or something like that. I don't know how anyone feels about that.
Probably it's a bad idea.
I don't know. Again, I know. That's
I
how
like,
feel
I know
too.
that I'm stepping up, so I
Well, and
don't,
also Public Works is going every day to every
Yeah.
park.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the idea of like, I love my help desk tickets for work that I'm like, somebody's charger's not working. And it's like an instant, like your thing has been received. And then it's like, so-and-so is working on your problem. Problem has been resolved.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great idea. I don't know how it works, but
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I can definitely see it as far as like collating stuff to like get to Public Works to be like, hey, attention has been drawn to these specific things that you can address while you're out at these different parks throughout the week.
Sure.
But as far as getting the feedback back to the person, I think that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
I think if there was a link on the website that said, if you notice something in our parks, let us know here.
Yeah,
And then they could click and say, the trash can at so-and-so is broken.
yeah.
Anyway,
And maybe their feedback is then they notice that it has been, you know, even if it's just like, if the system was such that it's like, you can submit these tickets for like, to make it into the rounds for like the next week.
Sure.
It could be as simple as like, in 1 week's time, this should be addressed. you
Yeah.
know, and please, if it's not, so.
Yeah. Oh, and I totally forgot. The other main thing we're totally doing this year is the SDC / like land use.
yes.
So we're gonna have, I think, 3 workshops between us, city council, and planning. And so that's the main thing we're gonna be doing. I don't know that they decided on the actual dates or anything. I don't think there were any yet. So, but that's totally a thing that we'll have going forward, is helping with those policies and hopefully codifying that stuff this year.
Which reminded me, and now that other people are gone, I don't know if anyone knows this answer to this question. Is there a planned park in Faraday Hills? I don't believe there is.
I
Does
think
anybody know the answer to that question?
Faraday, that's the one.
That's the new one that connects to Cascadia Ridge through Kern Creek. I don't think so. Okay. Okay, that's what I thought too. I had someone reach out to me and she's like, we really want to park here. And I saw you're on the commission. I thought that's all already planned and I don't think there's park space. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I know someone mentioned that one of the developments is definitely going to have a park in it. I can't remember which. There's so many. I don't know which one it actually is. So if you could get us that information, that would be great. So we could actually know. But yeah, that's going to be a big thing this year
Because we need
too.
to there's so many new that has to get going.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a great goal.
Okay.
Put that on there.
Yes.
Get that done.
Okay, so I'll put it into nicer writing over the course of this month, and then I'll send it out and make sure everyone reads over and make sure they like it, and then yeah, I think we're good for
And
that.
then one more budget item
Oh yeah,
is because I am ready to start, especially once weather's getting a little better, like start making those little like rusticated QR codes.
Mhm.
And I don't know exactly what we want to do. I like the idea of doing things that are smaller and unintrusive and a little more like things you like more hidden gem type things, not big signs or whatever.
Yeah.
But just something durable that can be placed out. And so there's like 100 activities on there right now, and we probably a lot of them start from the same spot. So I think even if we assume that there's going to be like 20 QR code things that can be made at like $5 to $10 each, maybe say like $200 for creating some signage into the site.
Yeah, I think that, like that would be a good use of like our time, like when we go out to like if an arts event or public safety. We're talking about the National Night Out. They were talking about having like other commissions there too. So if anyone has time or wants to go out, like that would be a good. We could promote Plesticata and just our other events that we got going on. If we want to come, if we want to do like little printout flyers or something like that, we can hand out to people as they come to the booth or anything like that. But okay, all right. So yeah, I'll put that in there too. And then, like I said, I'll come up with a rough draft this month, and then I'll give you everyone time to read over it. And if you want to make any changes or think of anything else to add to it, then I think we should be good on that. Okay, and then the next item of business, we have commission application review and recommendations. You're leaving us, Kalika?
Yeah.
Me too.
You're not. You too?
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, I'm going to share again in a moment.
Yep.
What are you moving on to? Hanging out?
Not having meetings every day of the week.
Being home with your kids.
Being a mom that has 2 kids that play softball and soccer and goes to school for her master's
It's a lot of things.
and works full-time as a teacher. That is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and I'm helping Merrick out with the Bee City stuff, and
Okay.
he will be moving out in like a year, and so I'll be taking over that because he graduates in a year and a half. So, yeah, I'm on a couple other commissions, so
That would work.
phasing out.
I think that'll work hand in hand with parks. So if you ever need any help with any of the bee
Yes.
stuff, so
Yes,
for sure. But so is March your guys' last meetings or?
yeah, yes, that's kind of like we need to act now because it's going to be a turnover,
Yeah.
and
I put in my 6 years.
That's
yeah, I put in 4.
So we have 3 applications of people to review. Let's see, the first one,
Do we have how many spaces? So like
We
right
have
now.
4 spaces.
we have 4
4 because we
spaces.
have
That's us
our
3 plus Shirley.
plus Shirley's, yep.
Okay.
So I re-up.
I'm gonna need some help.
It's just you. Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
You get to be the chair.
no, I could do like half of this. I mean, but
You know, just running around.
Okay, so Vincent can stay to help Steven.
Yep.
Okay, you win. And then let's look at our other people. I was reading these
I
before.
think
This first one,
Yeah.
Brianna, like she already did Parks and Rec in Albany, and I like the last sentence.
Yeah.
Being a part of Parks and Rec created one of the most memorable summers of a young adult career.
No, I think because she does, like you said, she does the Albany Parks and Rec. She did like hands-on like planting flowers and the roundabouts. So that'd be cool when we get like if we do the community garden and the pollinator garden
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Well, and she said she helped at live music and movies in the park too. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I think she'll be a
She
great
sounds great.
addition. Yeah. Hers
Sounds
look
great.
good, and then the other person, Chelsea. Just seems like a person who wants to help out, and we'll take it.
Yeah.
yeah, there's not a lot to go on.
You know what is I'm happy. You guys came out to every event. You dedicated your time, and that's all we can ask for. That's great. Cool.
right, they look great.
And then the last one was mine, but
So
I guess we'll stick around.
We'll gold star you. You can stay.
So do you want to do a motion to recommend those to city council? Or do
We
we?
have to, I don't think we have to.
think
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do a consensus to recommend all 3 people to city council?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
I don't think we ever done that before.
And people just showed up.
Yeah, we're just like, oh, we have a new member. Hello, welcome.
I invited them to come, but it's all good.
I mean, you made it though, so.
Huh?
You made it.
I made it, and then, okay, any other comments? You got
Yeah.
display for us?
So, it won't take long. For Sprint in the Spring, I wanted to show a potential new course that goes through the city. The first, we've done 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's been a learning experience, and I kind of want to take those learnings and do the next thing with it. The course we've had, it's like it's very easy to set up, but it's also like a little confusing. And it'd be nice to just take it out of just like one neighborhood. And not only that, but I think that we can we've been feeling out what it's like to put a race on, and I think we're ready to do something a little bit bigger. And I think if you have a good course that and there's some things that go with it for making a proper 5K race, we can get a turnout. We can get the turnout that I think we're ready to handle. And this is from today, or like literally right before the meeting. And my son and I went out and did this. So basically, this is the fire station down here. The where the green dot is actually needs to start a little further back. So there's like, here's the parking lot. We probably need to start almost out of the parking lot. But the idea here is you basically turn right, you go up the hill to Shafford. And this is a fun feature for a race to have like a steep hill that's not too big right out of the gate, because it means that the rest of the course is really fast. Because it's like you're getting uphill,
The hard part's done.
spiking the heart rate, you're getting up, and then you have like there's like a slight incline coming up over here. And then basically, other than a couple little rollers, it's like once you're less than a third of the way through the race, you're just like,
So they go across, is that right on Broadway?
yeah,
that
so
what
you
that
go
is?
right, yeah, you go right on Broadway. So yeah,
And
it
then
bumps. And then basically by the school, you take Broadway up. And then we stayed, and with a proper 5K race, it's not like what we do with Campanella where we go on sidewalks and stuff. It's a road race. We take up a lane, and so we basically do some cones. We have some crossings. We'll get to that in a sec. But this goes through the park. All of this stuff is really fun because it's like, this is just super fast running and it's killer, and like the pavement's really nice.
Is that through, so when it goes through the backside of Campanella,
Yeah.
is that the path along the park or is that the road?
This is just road.
Just road?
So yeah,
Okay.
I didn't go on the path, and it's also to keep the speed up. Cause if when
To
people
funnel
look at
people
this,
in.
yeah, and when it's known that this is a fast course, it will attract a lot of people. And because it starts and ends at the same elevation, it is eligible for USATF certification. So people who are trying to like move in their ranks and stuff could use a course like this. And when you have like a fast course, that's fun. And this whole thing right here, cruising down Broadway and then like running down the hill at the end and then finishing basically right in front of the lawn here. It's super fun. If you coming out and doing this early when there's no traffic and just going ahead and getting the road and getting a feel for what it's like to run this like a race, it's a super, super fun course. And it's also just like it makes it easy to spectate and stuff too. So
Yeah,
good,
'cause you
lots
can
of good
go there
spots
and
for
cross over and watch them come back the other way.
whenever you do something like this, you try to do it early so there's not as much traffic on the weekend. And you have to do, there are some crossings that we'd have to do. So there would have to be like these momentary road closures, but they're pretty short and they're rolling. You don't have to close for the whole race. Like if we call this an hour, you can assume that people who are having to cross, 6th over here are going to be, if the race started at 7 a.m. at 7:20, this is like, you don't have, you can back up. Sorry. It's like 20 minutes closed here. And then you just have some lane closures, and then you would have like a 20-minute closure on, somewhere along Eagle Creek. Because you can just basically take out a lane for a little bit, and then you have to have one spot where people cross, and then that you have like a 20-minute long closure. And so you get, and then once you're on Broadway, I mean, then it's like, we would want to close a little bit down here just to, make it so that people can make it in here safely, but I think it'd be a super fun course. It would just really up the stature of the race. I still like doing it in spring. Maybe we do it not in March, but,
Don't want snow?
no.
Don't want snow?
I was thinking it's the kind of thing where if you did it at early April, I don't know what conflicts we have there. But it also makes it so it's like you're a couple weeks out from Boston. So like anyone who's local, that's like, I want to get in like a local 5K race to get to before they taper for Boston and stuff like that, or their spring marathons. Yeah, we've got the potential, like this course is actually something that is like it's worth traveling for.
Yeah.
Because it's a really cool course, and this little feature of like, we're gonna get you up the hill so that you can just like cruise for your whole race. And when you come and do this course, you're probably going to get one of your fastest times that you've ever done on a 5K road race.
Yeah.
And then because it ends here, because it's not out in Campanella, we don't really have to like bring like vendors and stuff out there. We're putting people right here.
In this.
Yeah. Yeah, we would just have to see like what it would actually take to do the closures and whether they would need us to like actually have like the police do it, or I don't know what the
Right.
city would require of us to actually do those, but
Yeah, and it's you've got a lot of this is pretty, especially since you're starting at the fire station and then you're kind of off out of the way. You've got Main is totally open the whole time. You're never on Main. So if we have to close, if we close like Broadway or lane on Broadway, it's like you still have Main to be able to get through. And then there's other things too. If this little part right here, if it's like, we don't want to, if this means that whole intersection would have to be closed and we don't want to do that, it's easy enough to route it to where it's like, we can come in and over, or we can just basically take Wade all the way down and then just close and then do this little section of Broadway. Because this is actually really fun too. But if this is closed, that's like the most fun part to run, like, because Broadway's just big and it's really, really fast.
yeah, do you want to send it to the city and just see how receptive they are to actually like letting us do it in actual downtown area?
Yeah, because there are other events where they close the downtown part of Broadway, and even the best damn run, they come in, they kind of end almost in the same spot, but they come in from the highway and then turn into here. This would be coming in from above, and then that last little downhill is so fun.
Yeah,
So,
and if you get it certified, maybe it'll get us a lot more turnout for
yeah,
the 5K.
like, and that's the thing, like Best Damn Run has a really big turnout too, because that is it's a fast course, but you actually can't get official records on it though, because of the
Elevation.
because of the net loss. This is a net loss of 0. So even though the course is mostly downhill, it's like you're running downhill most of the time because you're running uphill real quick at the beginning, and then it's a super fast course. So it's like that core shape is like really desirable.
That's awesome.
I think it's cool.
What do you think?
I like it. Yeah, I just ran in Vegas this weekend.
Oh yeah,
Half marathon,
nice.
What's it, 13 miles?
13.1.
Yeah.
I don't know how he runs as far as he does.
I don't know how either of you run as far as you do.
Tell you, I don't know how I survived. It was my worst run ever. Anyway,
Just a few days
Perfect.
without sleep. That's all.
Great.
Coffee.
Anything else?
No.
No? Perfect. I think we adjourn the meeting.